Hey everyone, I enjoyed reading your Discord and discussion comments on Module 6. I apologize again that the bookstore was unable to get us access to the Benjamin book, but I do appreciate that many of you read the chapters from Benjamin that I was able to share for Module 6 via PDF, and I enjoyed some of the conversation about the ways that myth has shaped the way that we think about the past. That is one of the main issues in studying the past, is that um, we can never actually see what really happened, if that makes sense. We're always trying to figure it out, mediated through people's accounts of what happened. So even someone's memory of an event, or the way that they understood it, what it meant to them, all of those things are going to shape the way that they remember the event and the ways that they write about it, the way that they talk about it in a video, the way that they create art about it, all the different things that we can use as historical evidence. Of course, as looking ahead to the final project, we're going to be focusing on Mariano Asuela's The Underdogs, and that was a novel created at the time of the revolution. It was first serialized in the newspaper and then put into novel format. Um, it wasn't meant to be a true sort of historical, fact-based nonfiction account of the revolution, but it was based on the author's observations and his own experiences with the revolution, particularly in the north. But as we'll see, he traveled throughout Mexico as part of that. So what we'll be thinking about then is how works of fiction or fictionalized works can help us to understand something about the past, help us to understand maybe some of the big takeaways, or at least what people who participated took away from the revolution as they had taken part in it and were watching it institutionalize after the violent period had ended. Over the next couple of days, we're going to be thinking about the ways that the revolution still has legs or not. And as a few of you pointed out, in terms of American history, we like to tell stories about our past. It helps us to understand who we are. It's not even just a national thing, that's a human thing. To help us to understand ourselves and how we fit in with other people, storytelling is a major part of that. We have to be careful, though, because history can be utilized in ways to support certain political agendas, certain economic agendas, whatever it might be. History can be skewed, it can be twisted. And so that's something that we still see with the revolution, even in the presidency of AMLO, Andrés Manuel López Obrador, who is the current president, the leftist president. A lot of folks on the left haven't really appreciated the way that he's ruled, and that's not just true on the left in Mexico for a variety of reasons. But something that he has touted as he took the presidency was that his would be a fourth transformation. And so he was looking at some of those major turning points in Mexican history that Benjamin talked about in his introduction, and saying, the revolution was a third transformation, and that his presidency was going to be just as momentous in terms of putting Mexico on a new path. Of course, we hear rhetoric like that from politicians across the world a lot. But in the context of the revolution and what it means in Mexico, that's a pretty heady thing to say. We've talked a little bit, at least some of you have pointed out, about how the PRI was able to maintain power and then why it lost legitimacy and power. And I guess I'm cutting a little bit ahead. I was reading some of your Module 7 comments on Discord. So that's something that you'll be thinking about over the next couple of days. And hopefully that'll help you as you evaluate the underdogs and kind of the bigger takeaways of the course and the final project, to think about why the revolution has had such a central role in Mexican history and the way that Mexicans think of themselves as a nation. And of course, that was a huge overgeneralization, right? That I just did there, because the revolution means many things to many people. That's something that Brunk was trying to emphasize in his 3 different portraits of Emiliano Zapata. If you are interested, I highly recommend his book. It's connected to the article that we read, but it's a book-length version of that, so it goes into far more detail, and it thinks about myth-making and memory. He builds on the idea of voceros of the revolution that Benjamin talks about. I have it on my shelf over here. It's called The Posthumous Career of Emiliano Zapata. And so it looks at the ways that different groups of people remembered Zapata and kind of gave him legitimacy as a historical revolutionary figure, but also the ways that they co-opted his image for their own purposes and their own ends. That's largely in Mexico, but also in the United States amongst Chicano communities as well, and other groups of folks. So again, highly recommend that book if you're interested. The reason I didn't assign it for this class is it's a little bit dense. It's long, it's kind of theoretical. It's good. But it's hard to get through when we only have 4 weeks together. So, all right, I'll leave things there. As always, please let me know if you have any questions, and I will talk to you again soon.